Okay, getting started here. 3.2 basic differentiation rules, tangent lines. The tangent rules we learned today, just very basic stuff you just need to memorize. Nothing that's very complex. So let's kind of go through this now. So the constant rule, the derivative of a constant. Let me remind you, derivative means slope. What's the slope of a constant? It's 0. The slope of a constant is 0. So, to find the derivative. So, remember how I said y prime is an example of how to notate a derivative? Like f prime, y prime, dx over dy, stuff like that. So, you'll see a bunch of different notations. That's why this one right here is d over dx. That means taking the derivative of c. That's what that means. And if it's dy over dx, it's derivative of y. That's really what it means. And the x on the bottom means it's with respect to x. So, what's the derivative of 7? These first 3 questions are the easiest questions you get in your entire calculus career. 0. Number 2. What's the derivative of negative 3? 0. By the way, this is actually a position function notation. SFT, it typically in calculus means position function. I'm just telling you information you're going to learn like in 2 weeks. So if you take the derivative of position, do you know what you get? This is more of a physics-y question. What's the derivative of, what does the slope represent if you have a, if you're a position? So position would be like, I don't know, like if you're traveling somewhere and you start here and then end there. That's your new position. Alright, this is time. This is distance. So rise over run, distance over time. What does distance over time represent? Velocity. Okay, so the derivative of position is velocity. Do you need to know that right now? No. Do you need to know that in a week and a half, 2 weeks? Yes. So, just food for thought. I like to throw information out there. Okay, number 3. What's the derivative of pi squared? Neela, this question was easy. Pi squared is about like 9 something. What's the derivative of 9 something? 0. People get tripped up on this one. I don't know why. Pi squared, that's a constant. That's a number. Derivative of numbers are zeros. So all these derivatives are zeros. Okay. Let's start taking the power rule. Now it starts to get a little bit trickier, but not so much. We talked about this last time. The power rule. So x to the n. Who remembers from last class? What's the derivative of x to the n? You just take the exponent, put it in front, and subtract 1. So what's the derivative of just a plain old x, by the way? What's the slope of the graph y equals x? So the derivative of x is just 1. Am I going too fast? Okay, so number 4, what's the derivative of x cubed? (3x squared). Number 5, what's the derivative of x to the 5th? 5 x to the 4th. What number 6? Ooh, this one's a little bit trickier, isn't it? How can we rewrite that so it looks nicer? X to the 1/3. So now what's the derivative of x to the 1/3? 1/3. 1/3 x to the. What's 1/3 minus 1? Negative 2/3. You better get good at that math, by the way. That simple fraction math is required. Alright? A lot of calculus is just subtracting 1. And in the second half of calculus, it's adding 1. So if you have fractions, you better know how to take away a 1 from a fraction. Okay? How can we write this so it looks prettier? Because I don't want that negative in there. Yeah, this is how a multiple choice answer would look. It wouldn't have the other way. What about number 7? What does that really equal, by the way? What is so if I have 1 over x squared, what's a different way I can write that so I can use my power rule? Okay, so go ahead and do it. So what's y prime? Try it on your own. Tell me the answer in about 30 seconds. Annie, what'd you get for the derivatives? What's y prime? Perfect. How can I rewrite this? -2 over x to the third. This is how it would look in multiple choice. How do you feel about calculus? Just subtracting 1? We're good at this? That's, I think, as hard as today really gets, anything other than like applying it. Okay, the constant rule. I feel like there's so many rules that are coming at you. They're just, most of it's just common sense. Okay, so if there's a number in front, you take the derivative. The number in front stays there. Okay, you'll just get used to it. So, for instance, how would you rewrite this one, number 8? So we take the derivative a little bit easier. This would equal 2x to the -1. But 2 just stays there the entire time, and we can simplify it as we go. So what's the derivative of this now? The -1 comes out in front, right? So it becomes a -2x to the, subtract 1, -2, so it would look like this. So for 9, this would become f prime of t. So we're taking the derivative with respect to t. Any ideas? Multiply the 4 by 2. 8 t to the 1, so we'll leave it naked. That's okay. All over 5. That's it. This could also be written as, this better not blow your mind, but 8/5 t. It can be written that way as well. It's just 2 different ways to write the same thing. I don't really care which way you do. Okay, number 10. Are we just tired or we don't get this? Okay, go faster? Go slower? Let's go slower? Okay. Is this enough time? Number 6. Oh, question.
I don't understand what you're doing, like, for the first step. Like, how'd you get t over 5?
All I'm doing is I'm taking this 2, multiplying it by 4, subtracting 1. It's the power rule. So for 10, let's rewrite this. Rewrite this as what? 6x to the 1/2. You need to rewrite it so you can use the power rule. Now to find y prime, you're going to take that 1/2, multiply it by 6, and you get 3x to the... Now again, I can almost guarantee you this is not going to be what it looks like on multiple choice. How can we make this look nicer? 3 over x to the 1/2. It actually still might not look like that. So it'd be 3 over square root of x. So rewrite so it looks like the power rule, and then do the power rule. Want to try 7 on your own? Alright. Try. Did I say 7? 11. Try 11 on your own. It has a 7 in it. walk you through this one real quick. Let me rewrite it. Y equals 7x to the 4/3. Is that correct? So I take the power rule, y prime. Who thinks they got the answer? Yeah, name her.
28 over 3x, or 28 over 3 cube root x.
28 over 3.
Yeah, cube root x.
X to the 1/3. Which you said it is really cube root of x.